Namaste, my dear students. In the morning class, we discussed the concepts of human health and disease. So, continuation of this chapter. Before going to the point here, in the beginning of the life history study, with respect to Greek personality, his name is Hippocrates, as well as Indian Ayurveda system of medicine asserted that good humor and bad humor. So, with respect to one of the example, the persons with the black bile, belong to hot personality and would have fever. That is the assumption given by Hippocrates and Indian Ayurveda system. But after the discovery of blood circulation by William Harvey and experimental method and demonstration of normal body temperature in person with black bile using the instrument called thermometer. So, after the invention of thermometer, after the discovery of body fluids and circulatory mechanism, importance of that one by William Harvey, disproved the idea of that Hippocrates and Indian Ayurveda system. So, there they demonstrated that normal body temperature in persons with black bile using thermometer they disproved the good humor, bad humor phenomena or hypothesis of health. So, black bile iddavaru, they are having maximum temperature or increase of temperature representation of fever, but actually it is not right. This is a hypothesis. After the invention of blood circulatory system by William Harvey and the use of thermometer with respect to that black bile, disproved the theory of or disproved the hypothesis regarding with this good humor. And there later the human immune system, immunity, that kind of concepts arised in the case of our system or the biological system, in the living system, in the human society. So, in the last class we discussed the concepts of human health and disease and a classification of that diseases. So, common infectious diseases in man. In that bacterial disease, we studied about typhoid, causative organism and different aspects of symptom and the test which is utilized to identify the typhoid. Then second one is the pneumonia, another bacterial disease. Here the pathogen is Streptococcus pneumoniae and Haemophilus influenzae. Then mode of transmission, it is inhaling of droplets. So, all those things we already discussed. This is a severe case alladre enagutte, what is the indication of that symptom, and other some important bacterial diseases we listed is diseases and causative agent of that bacteria. And next is the common cold under virus. So, viral diseases tagondre common cold is one of the important thing, and these are the other important viral diseases observed in the case of human being. Okay. Next is the malaria with respect to protozoan disease. Iga bacterial disease aitu, viral disease aitu, the next one is the protozoan disease. So, if you take a protozoan disease, there comes our important thing is malaria. So, malaria it is because of the vector Anopheles female mosquito and also the pathogen behind that malaria commonly called Plasmodium. There comes 3 important species, they are Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium falciparum and Plasmodium malaria. So, these are the 3 important species of malaria. Then mosquito biting will going to increase the spreading of that malaria. Symptoms hemozoin, that is the chemical produced after the breakdown of hemoglobin, the RBC molecule, because of the invasion of this particular pathogen in the RBC of human blood. So, that is the thing. So, we studied till here in the last class, just I am giving the hint. So, this is what the total life cycle of our Plasmodium with respect to 2 host body. One is the Anopheles female mosquito, another one it is a human body where the liver and blood cells or RBC are going to be considered here. And next is the Amoebiasis, amoebic dysentery. The next disease under this protozoa, one is the malaria, second one here it is the Amoebiasis or amoebic dysentery is the second important type of this disease. So, ಇದು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ರೀತಿಯ ಎರಡನೇ example, second example under protozoan disease. Okay. So, pathogen in the case of amoebiasis or amoebic dysentery, it is Entamoeba histolytica. Remember Entamoeba histolytica. Mode of transmission, how this Entamoeba histolytica will going to be transferred from deceased person or this amoebiasis amoebic dysentery person into a normal person. So, mode of transmission it is through house flies, mechanical carriers anta heltivi. House flies transmit parasites from fecus to food and water. So, it is contamination of the food and water by this fecal matter which is having the Entamoeba histolytica. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ Entamoeba histolytica the percentage ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಾಗ that person, the person who is having that amoebic dysentery, the loose motion ಆಗುವಂಥದ್ದು, that fecal matter is having that pathogen. When this house flies carry this pathogen which is going to sit on that fecal matter and will give that matter to the food and water. So, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತಿರುವಂತಹ house fly ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು food and water ಗೆ ಬಂದು ಕೂತಾಗ then we can observe the total symptom with respect to or transmission of that disease. So, ಇದೊಂದು danger ಅಲ್ವಾ. So, ಅಲ್ಲಿ fecal matter, correct disposal of fecal matter is very important with respect to that person who is suffering from amoebic dysentery. So, we have to take proper care with respect to our food and water. Then symptom of this amoebic dysentery, it is constipation, abdominal pain and cramps with respect to that area, presence of mucus and blood clot in the stool. Mucus content of the fecal matter will going to increase and blood clot in the stool. In the fecal matter we can observe clotting part of the blood, clotted part of the blood. So, it is in the severe condition. In the initial level that is a constipation, then abdominal pain will be there and that is going to have, if it is severe, then it is going to have the presence of additional amount of mucus and blood clots in the stool, and this is what Entamoeba histolytica particle, that is the protozoa under microscope. Okay. That is what amoebiasis, amoebic dysentery, one of the important protozoan disease. Okay. So, in the practical also we are studying the same thing under practical, we are having the slide of this amoebic dysentery, Plasmodium. Okay. Next is the Helminth disease, bacterial disease, viral disease, then protozoan disease and Helminth disease. Helminth refers to worms. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೀರಿಯಾ, ವೈರಸ್, ಪ್ರೊಟೋಸೋವಾ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಯುನಿಸೆಲ್ಯುಲರ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಆಯಿತು. Now, coming to the multicellular condition, Helminth, worms, the diseases caused due to pathogens, they are multicellular, they are considered as worms, ಹುಳಗಳಿಂದ ಬರುವಂಥದ್ದು. So, ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂಟೆಸ್ಟೈನ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. So, these are going to have the seat for this kind of Helminth. or the other part lymph vessel etc. Okay, now coming to this point of ascariasis under Helminth disease. What is meant by ascariasis? It is the disease observed or the abnormality which is observed due to the infection of ascaris, that is ascariasis, like that of Entamoeba histolytica, Entamoeba, Amoebiasis, is not it. So, illi kuda ascariasis anta heltivi. Ascariasis refers to it is a disease due to ascaris species. So, ascaris lumbricoid anta complete hesaru helbodu, ascaris lumbricoid, or it is also called intestinal parasite. So, intestinal roundworm, we can say intestinal roundworm. My dear students, in the first year we studied the one of the example of Annelida, is not it, Annelida, am I right, and not Ascalminth, not Annelida, Ascalminthus. Under Ascalminthus we can observe this male, female and male ascaris, is not it, roundworm, intestinal roundworm anta ನಾವು study ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. So, they are unisexual character, it is not hermaphrodite. Then, so pathogen is the ascaris, complete name is ascaris lumbricoid anta helbodu. You can write ascaris or intestinal roundworm. Okay. It is an intestinal parasite found in the intestine of human being. Then mode of transmission, it is through soil, water, vegetables, fruits etc. contaminated with the fecus containing eggs of the parasite. So, egg of the parasite, after the sexual reproduction it will going to give egg. These eggs may be present in various aspects of food material, like directly it may be present in the soil or drinking water, vegetables, fruits, then contaminated with the fecus containing eggs of parasite. So, vegetables alli, fruits alli, now food items irbodu ಅಥವಾ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ವಾಟರ್. ಸೊ, ದ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇ ಇನ್ ಸಾಯಿಲ್, isn't it, but clear washing of hand is required, and minimum once in a year we have to give the tablets against this worm, isn't it. ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಹುಳಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟು ಹುಳದ ಮದ್ದು ಅಂತ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ವರ್ಮ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟು ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಬ್ಲೆಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾಕೆ? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್. ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ದೇರ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸಾಯಿಲ್, ಥ್ರೂ ದ nails or in that gap the eggs of this parasite may enter into the intestine system of that child. So, it may cause ascariasis. Even in the adulthood stage, even with respect to us, we have to take the medicine alva, ನಾವು ಕೂಡ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಕಾಮನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಐ ಸೆಡ್ in the vegetables, fruits, drinking water, it may be having. After cooking, of course, complete cooking is required, partial cooking may have this problem. Then symptoms, internal bleeding. What are the symptoms of ascariasis? Initially the number of ascaris, if it is few, nothing will going to happen, but if it is more or many in the intestine, then intestinal bleeding will be there. Because here what happens is, in the ascaris, in the anterior side we can observe the suckers, they will going to suck the blood directly from the intestine of the host body, if you take our system. So, intestinal bleeding, internal bleeding will be there, then muscular pain will be there in the abdomen portion, muscular pain, then fever, anemia, blockage of intestinal passage if the number of worms are very high. If it is exceeding 500, then it may enter into our system of stomach and later to the esophagus, and it will come out through mouth or nose. So, that is also happening, and here the organism body is additionally covered with cuticle. So, it will get the protection from acid attack or any kind of juices which are coming under our digestive system. So, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ intestinal juice, ನಂತರ ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂಥ acidic juice ಏನಿದೆ ಅದರ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಇದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, because it is having a thick cuticle layer, and also the eggs are also having a good shell or coverage. So, as a result they can get additional protection from the action of either enzymes or acid or any kind of alkaline material. Okay. So, symptoms are internal bleeding, ಒಳಗಡೆ intestine ಒಳಗಡೆ bleeding ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಇದು ಸಕ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಅನ್ನು. ಸೊ, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅದು ಸಕ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ, ಆಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ವೂಂಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬ್ಲೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಆಗೋ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. muscular pain, total pain with respect to abdomen muscles alli barutte. Nantara fever, anemia, abnormal with respect to the blood cell or blood related aspects. Then blockage of intestinal passage, because of the number of worms are more, then blockage will be there, and as a result of that total upset in the case of human digestive system. This is the female ascaris, male ascaris. We can observe sexual dimorphism, where in the case of male ascaris, this is the anterior, this is the posterior. In the posterior side we can observe slightly curved portion, and here there is no curvature in the posterior side of the female, and female worm is bigger than male worm, isn't it? That is the difference between male and female ascaris. Okay, that is ascariasis. And next is the Phyllariasis, elephantiasis disease, ಆನೆಕಾಲು ರೋಗ, ಫೈಲೇರಿಯಲ್ ವರ್ಮ್. ಸಿ ಆನೆಕಾಲು ರೋಗ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಫೈಲೇರಿಯಾಸಿಸ್ ಆರ್ ಎಲಿಫೆಂಟಿಯಾಸಿಸ್ ಡಿಸೀಸ್, ಎರಡು ಟರ್ಮ್ ಕೂಡ ನೆನಪಿರಬೇಕು. ಫೈಲೇರಿಯಾಸಿಸ್ ಆರ್ ಎಲಿಫೆಂಟಿಯಾಸಿಸ್, ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇಸ್ ಸೇಮ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಎಲಿಫೆಂಟಿಯಾಸಿಸ್ ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಫೈಲೇರಿಯಲ್ ಡಿಸೀಸ್, ವೈ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎಲಿಫೆಂಟಿಯಾಸಿಸ್? ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಯಾಥೋಜನಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾನೆ. Next we will study. So, why the elephantiasis? Because the infection of this worm under Phyllariasis will be there in the lymph vessel, and the lymph vessel will going to swell, and that will give the total swelling of the leg portion of the person, and swelling of that leg, it is like that of the thickness of the elephant leg. Elephant leg in hage ದಪ್ಪ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. So, swelling will be there in the lower part of the limb, and the limb or the leg looks like that of elephant leg. That is because of the infection of this worm to the region of lymph vessels in the case of lower abdomen, and it may be there up to the genital organs. That must ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ ಬರುವಂಥ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ in the upper side of the leg. So, if you take the pathogen, Phyllarial worms are Wuchereria, ಒಂದೊಂದು ರೀತಿಯ ಪ್ರೊನೌನ್ಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Wuchereria branchofti and Wuchereria malai are the two species under this pathogen Phyllarial worm. ಎರಡು ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸ್ ಇದೆ. Mode of transmission by the bite of female Culex mosquito. Remember, female Culex mosquito is the vector that will going to carry the young worms or larval condition worms from the Phyllarial person into a normal individual. So, ಆನೆಕಾಲು ರೋಗ ಬಂದಿರುವಂಥ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳಿಗೆ Culex female mosquito, during the time of evening it will going to bite and going to suck the blood. Along with the blood we can observe this worm young larva will enter into the system of mosquito, digestive system of mosquito, and it will once again bite to the normal person. So, thereby the transfer of the pathogen related with the filaria will be there from diseased person into a normal individual. So, ಅದು ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, Culex female mosquito. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಲೇರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಅನಾಫಿಲಿಸ್ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ಮಾಸ್ಕಿಟೋ. ಓಕೆ. Then symptom, Phyllarial worms live in lymph vessels, usually of lower limbs. Phyllarial worms ಎಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಸ ಮಾಡಿರುತ್ತೆ, where it is present, the residence of the Phyllarial worm, it is the lower part of the limb inside the lymph vessel. Lymph vessels ನ ಒಳಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. It causes chronic inflammation of the organs in which they live for many years. ತುಂಬ ವರ್ಷದವರೆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರಿಂದಾಗಿ ಹಲವಾರು ತೊಂದರೆಗಳು ಆ ಆರ್ಗನ್ಗೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. And deformed limbs and genital organs, deformed limbs, lower limbs, and it may lead up to the portion of genital organ in the case of human being. So, as a result of that, total swelling of the leg and difficulty to walk, etc., lot of problems will going to arise in the case of the Phyllariasis disease. Okay. Phyllariasis disease. Remember, this is the view of that one, and this is the Phyllarial worm. The speciality of Phyllarial worm, it is having one synchrony between the Culex female mosquito and this young larva of the Phyllaria. During the time of evening, the Phyllarial worm will come to the peripheral side of the leg, limbiನ ಸೈಡಿಗೆ ಬಂದುಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಹೊರಗಿನ ಅಂದರೆ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ, to the peripheral side inside the skin in the lymph vessels, and this mosquito will going to bite here in the time of evening. So, what happens automatically, it is entering to the mosquito and later to the new person. So, see the synchrony between Culex female mosquito. Culex female mosquito usually bite in the evening time. During the evening time itself, this will come to the peripheral side. There is a mutual understanding. See, in the nature it is happening. So, of course, we are thinking that this is fatal to us, alva idu ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದಲ್ಲ, ನಮಗೆ ತೊಂದರೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. But if you take in terms of that pathogen point of view, ನಾವು understanding ಮಾಡಿದರೆ, it is the requirement for that one for the continuity of life, to increase the population, to continue the life, to continue the generation, it is required, spreading into other places, alva. So, ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮದನ್ನು ಆಲೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಲ್ವಾ ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ, ಆದರೆ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಇನ್ ದ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಆಫ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ pathogen is also an organism, isn't it? It is also one animal or the living organism. So, it will going to cause, of course, it is not good for us, but it is generally it is a normal phenomena. So, there is a synchrony between the female Culex mosquito and our this Phyllarial worm. Okay. So, that is the helminth disease. Next is the fungal disease. So, fungal disease, if you take one of the fungal disease is the ringworm. ringworm ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಕೇಳ್ತೇವೆ, ಹಲವಾರು ಕಡೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಕಂಡು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. If the ringworm disease is there in the schools or colleges, it may spread to the other colleagues or other classmates, isn't it? So, ringworm fungus, ringworm, the pathogen is the microsporum, trichophyton, epidermophyton. So, ಇದು ಮೂರು ಬರುತ್ತೆ, trichophyton, epidermophyton and the another one is microsporum. So, these are the three important type of pathogen. Mode of transmission from soil or by using towels, cloth, comb etc. ಹೇಗೆ ಅದು ಒಬ್ಬರಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? It is by mode of transmission, it is from soil or by using soil ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸ್ಪೋರ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದರ ಮೂಲಕ ಕೂಡ ಬರ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ, ವಾಷಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಲೆಗ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ using the towels, cloth and comb used by the ringworm diseased person. So, ringworm ಬಂದಿರುವಂಥ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಂತಹ ಟವಲ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಕ್ಲಾತ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಕೂಂಬ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಆರ್ ಪೆನ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆಟ್ರಾ. ಸೊ, ದೇರ್ ಬೈ ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಟು ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಪೀಪಲ್. ದೆನ್ ಸಿಂಪ್ಟಮ್, ಸೊ ಹೇಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ? ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ಸ್ಕಿನ್ ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಸ್ಕಿನ್ನಿಗೆ ಬರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ದ ಅಪಿಯರೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಡ್ರೈ ಸ್ಕೇಲಿ lesions on various parts of the body such as skin, nails, scalp, intense itching will be there. So, here the appearance of dry scaly lesions, dry nature agutte skin, scaly lesions will appear, on the surface of skin, various parts of the body such as mainly skin, nails, ugurinalli barbodu, nails alli barbodu, or scalp area. So, actually for this one it requires slight moisturization. So, wherever the foldings are there in our body, in the hand or in the leg portion, between the fingers or toes we can observe, in the leg portion we can observe the occurrence of this one, or in the ear pinna, inside the ear pinna, sometime inside the ear also it will enter. So, it will make a enormous amount of itching. So, ತುರಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. And why it is called ringworm? Because it will going to make one ring like lesions on the surface of body. ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಇಚ್ಚಿಂಗ್ ಆದಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೈಟ್ ರೆಡ್ ಕಲರ್ ರಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಎಪಿಯರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಕೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ringworm fungus. So, this is what our one of the microsporum, I think microsporum, yeah, microsporum ಇಂದ ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಗಳು ನೋಡಿ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ under microscope. Okay. So, ringworm fungus, the fungal disease, one of the important disease. Remember the pathogen name microsporum, trichophyton and epidermophyton. So, trichophyton rubrum is one of the type, it is there in our practical also. Okay, practically once again slide is there under ringworm. So, that is about our total diseases. Total diseases observed in the case of human being, and it is by different pathogens. So, we grouped the pathogen into different types like bacteria, fungi, protozoa, virus, helminth, etc. So, these diseases are very important in terms of our theory, and then need and see it. Okay. The pathogen, symptom, etc. Very much, it is very much essential, and read it properly, make a note of it, and 1 mark, 2 mark or 3 mark questions are common questions under this category. So, next is the prevention and control of disease, public hygiene and personal hygiene, that we will study in the next class. So, okay, I will going to stop here. Okay.